Hello everyone! Today I'm going to teach you how to make a slow roasted traditional prime rib. At $12 to $25 per pound, it could be something that's really costly to mess up. When you buy your prime rib, there's mainly a couple of sources I like to buy from, so it's either Costco, Safeway, or Lucky's. What I found in general is that Costco quality is just really good. Personally, I like to buy any of the prime cuts from Costco. What you want to look for is the prime rib cuts that come in a roast. So this is a smaller roast. This is a 5.5 pound roast. I like to actually buy the prime ribs that have the bones in them. Unfortunately today I wasn't able to get one of those. But if you can find a prime rib with the bone in, be sure to buy that. The bone actually adds a lot of flavor. So I like to prepare my prime rib in a specific way. So as you can see, I added twine to bind my prime rib together. What I find is when you actually bake the prime rib in the oven, the meat gets loosened up and then kind of loses its shape. And then after you've done this, what I generally like to do is kind of trim off the edges. Because normally when you get it from the butcher shop, there might be some hanging pieces of meat here. And when you actually end up baking it, those things just turn to a dark brown that's not that good to eat anyway. So with the traditional prime rib, I like to use only 3 seasonings. I use about a 1/4 cup of rock salt, an 1/8 cup of garlic salt, and an 1/8 cup of rosemary. So I like to season it with the fat on top first, then seasoning everything else, flip it over, and then I go back again and season the fat top. All right, so we did all the sides and we're gonna come back on to the top since the top has lost a lot of its salt coming off. The salt that you put on top, it can be more generous. It takes a lot more seasoning to penetrate through the fat cap. All right, so now what we'll go ahead and do is we'll wrap it up in the foil and then keep it overnight. Be sure you have time before your actual dinner date that you have scheduled. You want to have the seasoning coated on the prime rib either the day before or multiple days before if you can afford the refrigerator space. Okay. Now it's the morning of the next day. Take out your prime rib from the refrigerator so you can let it rest and let it come up to room temperature. So this is what it should look like in the morning. The morning of, you need to plan out when you're gonna have the dinner. A slow roast like this could take 5 to 6 hours for it to complete. So you wanna make sure you give yourself enough time. All right, so the cook we're gonna do today is this slow roast. So we're gonna do it extremely low at 200 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're gonna do it about 4 to 6 hours. The general rule of thumb I like to use is bake it for 45 minutes per pound. This is a 5.5 pound roast. That will take about 4 to 4.5 hours. Necessary things that you need to have is you need to have the oven rack. So this helps you to have the heat evenly distributed under the roast. The other tools I like to use is some sort of oven thermometer. Generally, the temperatures will vary between different thermometers. So it's good to have one that you're very familiar with, that you are using consistently. So how we insert this thermometer is we take the pointy end and we're gonna stick it down in the roast the long way. So what I'm gonna do is take the thermometer and stick it in so that it reaches the center of the roast. Like so. This way I can get an accurate read towards the center. And I'm gonna do that with my other thermometer as well. And now, we're ready to bake. All right, now we're ready to put it in the oven. What I really like about the reverse sear method is you have some leeway into your serving time. What I mean is, when you pull your roast out of the oven after 4 to 6 hours, you can keep it wrapped in foil for up to an hour or so. And then right before you're about to serve, you can stick it back in the oven for your final sear. My dinner is gonna start at around 5 o'clock or so. So I'm starting to put my roast in at 12. I'm expecting this roast to take about 4.5 hours to bake. And then after that, I'm gonna rest it for about 10 minutes. And then I'm gonna do the reverse sear at the end. And then after that, you take some time to carve it so that dinner will hopefully be around 5 o'clock. Now we're going to stick it in the oven. All right. So prime rib in so that the thermocouple wires can come out this way. And then I also have the oven thermometer facing me so I can read the temperature inside. Then we close it, and now we wait. And at this point, it's good to actually just take a picture really fast of your time, as well as the temperature that it's currently reading at. So let me quickly hook that up. So right now the temperature is at 58 degrees Fahrenheit. So you kind of want to keep an eye on this. Our ending temperature that we would want is around 125. You can set these thermometers to alarm when it hits that certain temperature. If you're in a hurry and need quicker baking times, check the link in the description down below. Well, we're aiming for a medium today. We hit 125, and now we're gonna take out the roast because it'll take another 5 minutes for the temperature to rise to 130, and that's where we want the medium to be. All right, so I'm gonna take out the roast. Be sure to detach all of your thermometers. We're gonna do the last step of searing just to deal with it. So I did finish early, and that means I can let this rest until the guests are all ready to eat. Just wrap it in foil, keep it warm for, it can be up to an hour. And then when we're ready to eat, then I'll do a flash sear at broiling or at 500 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, so now we're gonna begin the last part. We're just gonna do the reverse sear. We're gonna take our rib roast and we're gonna stick it in for 10 minutes. After about 6 to 10 minutes, should look something like this. Nice seared all around. And then we'll plant it here, and then we're gonna carve and serve it. Now we're gonna actually do the carving part. So you'll take your roast. It does have the string in it still, but kind of put it on your cutting board, lay it flat, and then you want to remove the twine. In order to speed up the process, I have an electric knife, which helps me carve my prime rib fast. And so we'll do that right now. Be careful not to cut your fingers. And I like to generally cut my prime rib very thin pieces, but it's up to you. If you like prime rib in thick pieces, you're more than welcome to do that yourself. It's a very, very thin browning on the outside. This is what you achieve with the reverse sear. And that's it. Thank you for watching.